Well, that was the biggest catalyst. Was what happened was that was scene was just beginning to happen. You know, punk. I was really interested in punk, but the only punk band that really came to Glasgow at the start was The Damned. They supported T-Rex. I was a big T-Rex fan. That's the first time I really got into punk. But there was a guy down at a record shop, Bruce's, in Union Street, called Arthur Haggerty, and he used to take this bus out to Silverside Hotel because you couldn't get any punk bands in Glasgow, you know. So he would, if you went in there, he would say, "You're coming on the bus." So you kind of go to see these bands, and then kind of like along the way, what happened? I thought I'm going to start a fanzine because everybody had fanzines at the time, and I thought, well, I'll start one then because you get into gigs for nothing and gives you something to do. And I had a job at an architect's office. They had a printer, so it was just me and the architect. So every time he was away, I would just start to print up the fanzine that I started called 10 Commandments. But again, there was no really not many bands in Glasgow at the time, you know. So I was struggling to find bands to write about, so I started to make some bands up. And then I was taking the fanzine round to different record shops, and outside one of them was Orange Juice. They were putting out Paul and Laughing in the window. And then I goes, "All right, you know, you're those." I mean, obviously it was them, but I was being disingenuous, you know, right? So we kind of became quite, you know, we had it all quite right, almost right away, you know. And then I said, "Can I do you for my fanzine?" You know, even though it took a few rushes to get to that stage, but I met them, I think maybe the next day, and then I kind of met them every day afterwards, you know, like for the rest of that period of time, you know. It started off for me, like, I was more friends with a band called Lot of Images at the start because I went to school with sort of like friends of theirs, and then their managers suggested I start a band up, you know. And I was telling Edwin this, and Edwin was kind of saying, "Well, you have to write some songs then." You know, I had one song that Alan Horned had called "She Hates Travel," so he said you have to write some songs. So I used to go out to his house, and he would try and show me how to, you know, write songs, you know. And then from that, I kind of got a little bit of a set together. But then we played this gig, we played a lot of them just twice as a band called the Oxfam Warriors, and then we played this gig at the art school, and Alan and Edwin and Robert Sharp, a photographer at the time, came down in the Vic Cafe, and they had this wee table at the front with hit and miss, like jukebox jury, you know, but of course everything was a miss, wasn't it, you know, right? At the end of the gig I was like going, "Thanks," and they were laughing, and Alan was saying, "Actually, Hodgie, they're not bad songs, but the band are all Neds. You know, they're all terrible." They were really not Neds. They were lovely, lovely guys, man. They're from the south side. So I decided I was very impressionable at that time, especially with Alan. Alan was like a sort of like a very, he was just very enigmatic, you know. So I thought, I'll go along with that. And I got a new band. I found Lawrence was in a band called Jazz Tears. I just met Douglas downstairs. He wasn't in it at the time, but then I met Ken Day in a band called Rodeo, and then I met Russell was working in Virgin, which was a sort of clothes shop as well as a record shop at the time. So we decided to start a band up, and then we played. I think the first gig was kind of like at the Rock Garden. First show gig, we played one before that as a practice, and that went down quite well, you know. And then Alan said, "I Hodgie, the band looked good. I want to meet them." When he met them, but he said they were bigger Neds than the band before. And again, none of them were Neds. Ken's from Bluebell and Lawrence is from Stirling. He's a university student, and Russell's like we're all dead posh boys, man, you know. But and then Alan started saying, "Right, you can play the next gig, you can play Orange Juice, and the next gig you can play." So that got us into that kind of postcard world, kind of like more fully, you know, and led to lots of doors opening. We were going to be on Postcard, but Postcard was never really a kind of like... Evan was so much in charge of what he was doing that it was kind of like, you know, difficult to see how it could go further than what it was going to go, you know. I don't think Alan even liked the other bands on it. I think he just liked Orange Juice, really, to tell you the truth, you know. We recorded a few songs with Postcard. We played a lot of gigs with Orange Juice. We did a lot of... Alan had a lot of these Postcard kind of like variety nights when you'd have us and Aztec Camera and Orange Juice and Joseph all played together, and they were great nights. But at that point, we really played. We hadn't played many gigs. We were already getting offers to go on tour with people like and recording contracts. And I guess Orange Juice must have been getting thousands, you know, because we were on the front cover of Melody Maker. We'd only played about 4 gigs, and then it's like we did the whistle test. We were the first unsigned band in the whistle test. So it it was just by being around that scene, the tension was already coming towards us anyway, you know, and so Aztec Camera were benefiting, and Joseph K were benefiting, and we benefited, you know. I think people saw us as being like the more poppy version of, you know, the more commercial version of it all, even though I thought Oranges was amazingly commercial. One day Alan would just tell you fuck off, and the next day he would tell you, "Oh, I didn't mean it, come back round the house," you know. And then everyone's getting that. It was like, I mean, what I remember most of the Postcard, to tell you the truth, is going shopping down the Paris Market and or you know, places like that. That's more I remember, and more hanging about in cafes, and then sometimes your sides would be splitting. It would be so funny, and then other times it would be so. You know, argumentative, it'd be horrific, you know. But most of the time it was just laughing. I mean, I can't remember. Alan would play records, but he would play the same record all day. So you get dribbling magic all day, 24 hours of it on click back to start, and then lots of Northern Soul, lots of records would get played. So they would stick in your mind. That was kind of like your. There was no. I don't remember watching. Never watched TV. Never did things like that, you know. It's always like music and walking around. The flat was Brian, a girl called Krisha, who did a lot of the artwork for Postcard, and Brian Superstar, who was like the kind of like the voice of reason, as we called him in the flat. He was so mocking. The thing is, when you first go to meet Alan in his flat, it's like going to see the Queen, I guess, right? Well, he is very Queen-like, but Brian would kind of like debunk that by just mocking Alan, and Alan couldn't handle Brian at all, because Brian was ruthless with his sarcasm, man, you know. So that kind of made you more thinking, well, I could slag off Alan as well, you know. That's how I got Bobby Bluebell nickname, because everyone started calling me Bobby Bluebell because of Joey Ramone and stuff. He would get a wee song about Bobby sitting Bobby Bluebell on his knee. He used to sing it all the time when I went round to the flat, you know. So that's how that stuck. What happened most with the Postcard was we were getting offered tours. I remember Haircut 100 offered to take us on tour. They were big fans of ours, and Alan was saying, "Oh, I don't want you to go on that tour. He wanted Aztec Camera to go on it," and we were going to go on it, you know, because we wanted to do it. You know, it was just going to be a laugh. And Nick Hayward was such a great guy, so we did that tour. And they were the biggest band in Britain at the time, Haircut 100, and that was a really big thing for us, you know. And afterwards we got lots of offers, but what really changed it for us was meeting Elvis Costello. That's the thing that got us away mostly from Postcard, because like he offered to record us straight away, and he was really great musician, man, you know. I mean, for us who weren't really musicians, he took a lot of time with us. He would send you tapes all the time of different records, and he would sit with you, tell you how to stand next to the microphone or how to hold the guitar, all basic stuff, but he did it with great affection, and he took us on tour, and that was a brilliant laugh as well, you know. So these are things that all of a sudden we were very sort of like West End centric. It was all Woodlands Road and Charing Cross, and all of a sudden you're in London, or you're, you know, the people who are taking your head away from what Alan was telling you. We were going to sign to CBS, and then London kind of like kidnapped us at London, Camden Pally, Hammersmith Pally, I can't remember what one it was anyway, and got me really drunk, and then we changed our mind next day and signed to them. It was good, but and they kept Elvis, whereas CBS had wanted us to go with somebody else.
And was that
the thing you realise quickly when you got on majors is it's going to be a bit disappointing, you know. That's what you realise most of all. I remember recording that. We recorded it in this big studio called Air, I think with George Martin studio, and like it was right in Oxford Circus, but it was dead stale for me. The whole experience was kind of stale, you know. I wish we just did it with Elvis. Elvis did the B-side, but they got in this guy who had some hit or something at the time to do this, and I think Ken and David would tell you the same thing. It ended up you record, you're used to recording it all together, right? You know, and like getting a real vibe going, and all of a sudden you're in a room on your own like this, and you can't even see anybody else, and you're playing the guitar, and the guy's talking to you down the microphone, you know, saying, "Can you play that bit again, Bobby? Can you play it a bit harder?" You know, things like that, you know. "Can you play it with a bit more feeling?" Thinking, well, how you doing that on the guitar? You know. So that's the things all of a sudden these begin to sort of like it becomes a job rather than like this big exciting adventure, you know. Because companies will tell you, you probably know this anyway. You sign the first deal, right, and you get a certain amount of money, right, and it lasts you, say, for a year. But the next deal after that, it's going to cost them a lot of money. So, for instance, you could sign for £100,000, but they keep you going. By the time it gets to the fourth year, they're giving you £1 million. So they won't. That's why a lot of bands don't get re-signed, is because they could come and thinking, wow, we've now got to give them this amount of money to keep them on. That's why even big bands like U2 and things like that get dropped. It's because they're then due a huge pile of money in advance. So the economics don't work out for the companies. So the first few years we would get our advance, and then next year the advance would be better, but still we'd made money, so that would keep up. By the time you get to the third or fourth advance, if you haven't sold 1 million albums, say, then you're really struggling to get a deal again. You know, you can sold 200,000 records or 300,000 records, which is a lot, and makes you rich, but the company just think, we can't go on with that scale, you know. So that's what happens. The companies want you to put you with people they think can give them the product that they want, you know, and they want all the edges taken off it. Well, the Bluebells kind of just faded out, really, you know. Like, there was no real kind of like fight or argument, we didn't even get dropped. It kind of rambled on. Ken David, I think, had enough at that point himself anyway, and there was no kind of like, we didn't know what they wanted, and we were fed up guessing, you know, like throwing darts. We used to write songs for ourselves, and then you end up writing songs for them, you know. They would say to you, listen to this record, and I don't know what it would be, and then you would, but they would be implying, do something like that, and then there's always a point, we never got to that point, but where you get hit with, do a cover. So I was thinking that's going to be the next stage, so I thought, let's get out now before we get to the, you know, do a Monkey song, you know, or do a Police song. I think he is loyal. Alan used to drive us around. See, the thing about Bluebells is everyone thinks we, as an Alan, has a bit of aminosity. I can't ever remember any. He used to be very kind to us, and he used to drive us to gigs, encourage us. And then I used to see him he just lived up in Hillhead Street. I used to see him all the time. You could go down to Western Baths or on Byers Road. And Paul was living with him at the time, Paul Quinn. So we just got talking about doing a record for that. So I agreed to do that with him. And then Paul's great. He's such a great guy. And then James was involved in it, which is always a fantastic bonus too. James Kirk and Campbell Owen was involved in it. So it was great. I used to look forward to up to Alan's house, and we'd sit around. And Alan would say, "We got any?" I had some songs that I'd written post Bluebells, and they were the kind of basis for it, you know. And like we'd work on them, and then Paul was just every time he sang, it was like fantastic, you know. And he was a great lyric writer too, you know. And then that was actually my favourite record for a long time. Was that Paul Quinn record? Evan produced it too, but it was very raw. But then for the next record, Alan wanted to be really smooth, and it wasn't for me at all, you know. I think we fell out quite badly in the end of that one.